Hey everyone, welcome to week 5 of my devlog for my upcoming sailing game for the Vive. This week I'm going to show off two features, and the first feature is pretty important to the gameplay. So you can see that my sailboat's pretty far away, and what I've been doing this week is working on teleportation. So if I just gently touch the touchpad on my controller, it'll bring up the teleportation. Now, this is exactly the same teleportation system that the lab has, and it actually figures out where you can transport in the world. Then click down, I transferred there over. Now the difference between the lab and this is that whenever you touch the touchpad, not actually click, it brings up the teleportation, and then if you release, it goes away. You can do this with both hands. This game is going to be ambidextrous, so both controllers do the same thing, but you can use this to go anywhere in the world. The only thing is that you have to make sure that you have a proper channel, and then you can transport down. So you can see I can just quickly jump around. If I actually go through the floorboards, I can't actually hit that. That has to do with the Navimesh and some other collider issues in Unity. So jumping over here, you can see that one of the major things is that just like the lab, if I walk over to the edge of my play space, which is right here, you can see that the point that I'm going to be jumping into is going to be different. This is important for when you want to go into an area. Let's say I want to go up there, use my other hand. And now I know exactly, I can walk over here and see the edge of my play space here and here and here. Now, why did I do this? Well, if we go back to the sailboat, you can see that when I hold down my touchpad, and it's going into the depths, and then scroll over, there's two little dots in there. And what those dots are their control points on the sailboat. Now, what happens is that unlike when you're jumping off into the real world, the control points will show you exactly where you're going to transport into. I wanted to do this so that a sailboat, instead of having areas that you can transport to and all over the place, I wanted to make it so that when you transport onto a sailboat, you're actually transporting onto a specific area. So you use your room scale as opposed to transporting everywhere. And one important thing about this is that when you're getting on a boat, you can actually see where you're going to be within the play space. So if I move over to my play space over here, I'm going to transport right to the front. See I'm right there. And then, as an example, I've added a bow thing so I can do the Titanic wave if I want, and I'll move back to my other play space. So the other thing that I've been doing is I rewrote the entire boat floating algorithm. Before it was using a bunch of game objects and it wasn't really working that well. And now I'm using the actual Physx engine that comes with Unity. So I'm just going to disable the boat from not doing anything, and now it's floating. So what I've done is it doesn't sail as well anymore because I have to add a few more things, but it's still working. So if I pull this in, it starts moving, and then I actually have to use the rudder to make it move along. The cool thing about this is that it's completely expandable to any type of ship. So it's doing all the calculations, and all I have to do is put a new ship body in, and I should be good to go.
So there's a few issues with the boat right now, mainly that there's only two forces that are actually acting on the boat. I'm going to use this canoe as an example, but, canoes are a boat. So what happens when the boat moves through the water is that it has two forces applied. The viscous force, which is the force that's running along the side of the boat. As the water hits it, it interacts with the particles and actually slows the boat down. That's why if you have a smoother hull, you'll go a lot faster. And the pressure force, which is as the boat is moving through the water, pressure is building up on one side of the boat, and on the opposite side, a suction pressure is happening there. And that causes a lot of drag to slow the boat down. Right now, those two forces are in there for drag, and that's why the boat will actually slow down and as it's bouncing around on the water. But the thing is, I need to add more forces to the keel and the rudder. Now, what the keel is that in a sailboat, you need a large keel at the bottom to prevent the boat from going sideways. If you had if you had a canoe and you had a sail on it, what would happen is that even though it does have some forces that are keeping it going straight, it would most likely just drift down the direction of the wind. Adding a keel to the bottom actually produces a lot of counterforce because the pressure and the viscous drag, well, actually viscous drag doesn't really matter on it, but the pressure on the side of it is keeping it going straight. And the other thing is that as the boat's moving along, this is actually a wing. So the wing will cause lift to happen. So if the wing is moving along at this direction and the wind is hitting here, what actually happens is that has a pressure differential and causes lift to happen, and so that instead of getting blown down, the lift force pushes it this way, and then it just keeps going along the straight ways. So I'm probably going to get to that in the next 2 weeks. And then once I have the keel forces, I just attach the same idea to the rudder, and what the rudder does is as it changes its position, it'll actually torque the boat around to make sure that it's aiming in the right direction. So once I've got that done, I'm going to move on to multiplayer as the next step. I worked a couple years on a multiplayer game, and I'm going to use the same system that I used in that one. So it shouldn't take a huge amount of time. I don't have to learn all of that anew. All of this hydrodynamics is new stuff I've been learning. I knew how to sail by just reading the wind and going with it, but this has given me a lot better of a scientific understanding of sailing. So yeah, that's the next plan, and thank you so much for watching. If you have any comments, always feel free to leave them. I like to respond to everyone as long as they're sane. So thanks a lot again for watching, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye.